Join me as I dive deep into the question, what really makes societies fall apart? I'm going to explore some surprising factors and see if I can figure it out. Throughout history, the rise and fall of civilizations have captured the imagination of scholars, storytellers, and everyday people alike. The question of what truly causes societies to unravel is timeless, echoing through the ruins of once great cities and in the cautionary tales passed down through generations. As we look closer, it becomes clear that societal collapse is rarely the result of a single event or misstep. Instead, it emerges from a tangled web of interconnected factors, some obvious, others hidden beneath the surface, each contributing to a slow unraveling that, in hindsight, seems almost inevitable. Economic instability stands as one of the most visible and immediate threats to any society. When the economic engine stalls, the effects ripple outward, touching every aspect of daily life. Imagine a society where jobs become scarce, food prices soar, and the gap between the wealthy and the poor widens into a chasm. Discontent brews as basic needs go unmet. Trust in institutions erodes, and people begin to question the fairness of the system itself. History is filled with examples where financial crises acted as the spark that ignited wider unrest. Take, for instance, the Great Depression of the 1930s, which destabilized countries around the world and paved the way for dramatic political and social upheaval. But economic woes rarely exist in isolation. The environment, often taken for granted, plays a silent yet powerful role in shaping the fate of civilizations. Resource depletion, whether due to overfarming, deforestation, or water scarcity, can push societies to the brink. Consider the story of Easter Island, a remote land once covered in lush forests. Its inhabitants, driven by a desire to honor their gods and ancestors, cut down trees to move massive stone statues. Over time, the island's resources dwindled. Without trees, the soil eroded, food became scarce, and a thriving society began to wither. In this case, environmental mismanagement set off a cascade of problems that no amount of ingenuity or tradition could reverse. Natural disasters, droughts, earthquakes, floods, can also strike without warning, testing a society's resilience. Sometimes these events expose and exacerbate existing weaknesses. The ancient Maya, for example, built an extraordinary civilization in the jungles of Central America. They devised complex calendars, constructed towering temples, and developed a sophisticated writing system. Yet prolonged droughts, combined with overpopulation and relentless warfare between city-states, led to food shortages and social turmoil. The collapse was not sudden, but gradual, a slow-motion unraveling marked by abandoned cities and lost knowledge. Social unrest, too, is a powerful force. When trust breaks down between citizens and their leaders, when communities fracture along lines of wealth, ethnicity, or belief, the bonds that hold society together begin to fray. The Roman Empire, at its height, spanned continents and cultures, held together by an intricate web of laws, infrastructure, and shared identity. But as Rome's borders stretched, so too did its ability to govern fairly and effectively. Corruption seeped into the political system, the economy faltered under the weight of overspending and inflation, and rival factions competed for power. Add to this external pressures, barbarian invasions, shifting alliances, and new technologies of war, and the empire's collapse becomes a story not just of external conquest, but of internal decay. Yet it's important to remember that collapse is not always total or immediate. Sometimes it takes the form of transformation rather than annihilation. The fall of one system paves the way for the birth of another. After the Western Roman Empire fell, new kingdoms arose, each blending Roman traditions with their own customs and innovations. In other cases, knowledge and culture survive in unexpected places, monasteries, small villages, or even among the descendants of those who once ruled great cities. As we look back at these stories, certain patterns emerge. Societies that thrive tend to be those that can adapt to changing circumstances, manage their resources wisely, and maintain a sense of unity and shared purpose. Those that fail often ignore warning signs, cling to outdated ways of thinking, or allow divisions to deepen unchecked. In our own time, the echoes of past collapses are impossible to ignore. Global challenges, climate change, economic instability, political polarization, remind us that the factors that once brought down ancient civilizations are still at play, albeit on a much larger and more interconnected scale. The world today is more complex than ever, with technologies and systems that offer both hope and new forms of vulnerability. The difference now is that we have access to the lessons of history, and with them, the possibility of foresight. So, what should we watch for as potential warning signs? Rapid inequality, where a small elite controls most of the wealth and resources, leaving large swaths of the population struggling. Environmental mismanagement, where short-term gains are prioritized over long-term sustainability. The breakdown of social trust, where people no longer believe in the fairness or effectiveness of their institutions. And an unwillingness to adapt, where tradition becomes a straitjacket instead of a foundation for innovation. But there is also reason for optimism. History shows that people are capable of remarkable resilience and creativity. Societies can reinvent themselves, find new ways of solving problems, and emerge stronger from periods of crisis. The key is awareness, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, learn from the past, and make difficult choices before catastrophe strikes. In the end, the collapse of societies is not just a matter for historians or archaeologists to ponder. It is a living question, one that asks each of us, what kind of future do we want to build? Will we heed the warnings of the past or repeat its mistakes? The answers lie not in fate, but in the choices we make, individually and collectively, every single day.